Guys, welcome back to the League Itself podcast. This is episode 58, our LIV Golf Riyadh preview. I'm LIV Golf Buff along with Liver and Onions. And Liver, we thought we made it to through the off season without any more bad news, but we had some really bad news. But golf is here, and that's what's most important. How excited are you that we're at the point now where we actually get to see balls in the air?
So excited that I can't even figure out the days that this is happening this week, because not only is the tournament starting, like it doesn't end on Sunday, Saturday is the last day, but then we added a fourth round. So we moved technically the starting day up 2 days from our normal LIV Golf starting time. So we're used to going Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now we're Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like my whole week is set off by this, and I've got to make an adjustment, but it's only this 1 week. Otherwise, it'll be a little more normal. So I'm excited. Obviously, we'll talk about what happened this week and the potential ramifications of some of those things. But we've said this whole offseason, just get the balls in the air under the lights, and everything that happened this offseason will seem like a distant memory. And we've got a lot of things to be excited for with the league beginning too. So,
yeah, no, I'm excited to finally see golf shots. I've been dying to see golf shots, and we're finally going to see it. My work week this week is completely screwed, so that'll be great. But this is the only time I have to watch golf during work until South Africa, maybe. But but with all that being said, we have a lot to talk about this week. But before we do any of that, guys, please subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on our rest of our platforms, but we care about YouTube the most, so please subscribe there. We appreciate all the new subscribers that we've had over the last few weeks. Follow the League Itself on Instagram and Facebook at the League Itself. Follow Liver and I on X, Liver and Onions, LIV Golf Buff on X. Same with TikTok. And let us know if we are not on your podcast platform, because we will join your podcast platform if so. So we got to start with somber news, I guess, with Patrick Reed leaving LIV Golf after you manifested him winning the Dubai Desert Classic during our season preview. He said in a press conference shortly after that win that he hadn't signed his contract for 2026. And that was pretty eye-opening. It was like, how the hell did you not have this contract signed? Shouldn't this be something that's already been taken place? We all expected it. He went through all the teams week preview stuff. He did all of that. And then on Wednesday, Patrick Reed confirmed that he is leaving LIV Golf in pursuit of PGA Tour membership. He's eligible to participate in the fall with a past winners exemption, and I think he's even more so chasing a top 10 exemption from the DP World Tour. And assuming Patrick Reed keeps his world ranking, he'll be able to play all the signature events in 2027. So he took both options of LIV Golf and pursuing the tour, and decided that he wasn't interested in playing for the money, I guess, anymore. And he wanted to pursue going back to the tour and playing those events. I think this is terrible, one, but I want you to start, because you're going to have a lot more optimism maybe than I do right now.
I think the optimism is in the league. My thoughts on the Patrick Reed specific thing. I was cheering for Patrick Reed to win this weekend. I really was.
In Dubai.
In Bahrain.
Oh, in Bahrain. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, so even after he says he's leaving, like, no hard feelings. He's choosing what he wants to do. Great. My problem with Patrick Reed is that during the tournament in Dubai, he had a press conference. Well, he had multiple because he was leading and in contention, but he had a press conference where he talked all about how playing a world golf schedule benefited his game. It developed his game, playing on different grasses, in different cultures, in different climates. And he was just adamant that traveling the world playing golf made him a better golfer. And he went so far as saying the guys on the PGA Tour don't get that experience. They don't get the benefit of playing worldwide golf and how that can benefit their game. And then 4 days later, he crumpled that manuscript up and threw it away and said, I never said that. And I don't want to sound like he's never going to play anywhere but the United States. Obviously, he's playing a DP World Tour schedule this year. He's the type of guy that's going to continue to play some of his favorite events around the world. He'll probably be at some international series events like the Hong Kong Open. I can see him playing that. He's always played a couple of those international series events really well. So when you can pick and choose your schedule, you're going to go places that fit your game, which is the advantage of basically every tour in the world other than LIV. So I'm not bitter towards him. I'm disappointed that he basically lied about. I mean, things change, right? Things changed fast.
Yeah,
Right?
really
His
fast.
team basically didn't know it was coming. Like they knew that the contract wasn't signed. He had said, "Hey, I plan on being in Riyadh. I'm pretty sure we're going to get that contract figured out." Baseless reports said everything was offered to him that he was expecting and that he asked for. That never really got confirmed by a solid source. But even still, like if that's the case, then he just had a change of heart. Something else that we'll never know sprung up, and he made a decision to leave. So good luck. Go win a major. I'm not rooting against you. I like Patrick Reed. I think he's a great golfer. He's probably playing as good a golf right now as he's played in a very, very long time. So couldn't get it done, lost in the playoff in Bahrain. I just disappointed with how the final week of his time with LIV Golf went. And you mentioned being at Teams Week, like going through all that stuff. Were his intentions at that time that he was 100% coming back and then something happened? Seems like it. I just think it's really weird that you don't put that contract in front of him and say, "Hey, we need this signed," prior to releasing all of the Under Armour stuff, releasing all the what was the
It's
golf
not swag
accessories?
golf, is it?
Swag golf, yeah.
Yeah.
Like obviously they filmed that video. If at any point in that it's going through his mind that I'm not sure I'm going to be here, then I would have expected him to say something or say like, "Hey, we either got to get this figured out or I shouldn't be doing this."
Yeah. Well, I think with Patrick Reed, like this offseason, I don't know how that's not handled already.
Yes.
Um, I'm not sure how it works now because now there's multiple avenues to return to the PGA Tour if you're a player that meets a certain status, multiple different criterias. Brooks is a current major under current major champion exemptions. Patrick Reed is a past winners exemption. There's different ways to go back if someone so chooses to. I think for me, the biggest thing for me is that we've lost multiple guys to different ways of going back to the tour. And in retaliation, LIV is choosing not to do anything, at least at this point, in the name of the ecosystem. I know it's really hard to get somebody quickly after something like this happens, but the statements that they've put out have only just shown weakness, supporting free agency, just kind of being, we care about free agency, but we don't get anything back. I think it kind of just shows how weak it is up at the top right now. And I don't know if Patrick Reed saw the weakness in the leadership. I don't know if Patrick Reed cared about the format changes. I don't know if Patrick Reed just saw he won the Dubai Desert Classic and he can almost essentially coast throughout the DP World Tour season and get back to the tour and eventually play in Ryder Cups again. I don't know how that all works out, but the fact that it got to this point is just so grossly irresponsible. If he's going to Teams Week, he needs to be signed. He needs to have that done. There's probably other guys that maybe were in the same shoes, but they didn't win the Dubai Desert Classic, so that avenue wasn't like presented to them. It's like, oh, I could actually go back if I really wanted to. But the fact that you let it get that far, especially now when you have your full team, Scott O'Neill, that's bad. It's really bad. And in my reaction video to it, I basically said that LIV's fucked because if different guys are going to go for different reasons, with having different avenues to do it, I just don't know how LIV is going to be able to respond without throwing money at them because LIV clearly doesn't want to throw money at players. So it's a tough go of it right now because I just don't know how LIV comes back from this. In 2026, I don't think they can, but in 2027, you really got to make a splash somehow to make yourself more marketable to the rest of the outside professional golf world to strengthen your fields because you lost two really great players, two killers of the sport. So it was a total gut punch. And Patrick Reed was in on LIV Golf from the start. It wasn't like a Brooks thing. Patrick Reed really liked the format. Patrick Reed was all about the 4 aces. That's all he would talk about. And then they have this, kind of switchback of, yeah, I'm going to go to the tour. It's like, it's all really shocking more than anything.
I agree. And this is not a conversation that has to be had in full right now, but I kind of push back on your free agency, like, oh, the free, like, LIV signed players, has taken players from all the other tours. To say like, oh, LIV never does anything. Like, they were the original, and now it's happening in return. It's not like this is the first part.
It's
this
happening
isn't the
in
first
return.
action. Yeah.
No, of course, but like LIV's championing free agency, but you're not getting anything out of it at this point, right? Like you lose Brooks Koepka and Patrick Reed, and you get Thomas Dietrich. Like that, the star power that LIV lost this offseason is nowhere close to the people that LIV Golf brought in. Thomas Dietrich's a fine golfer. He doesn't sniff Patrick Reed in terms of just pure grit, actual skill. Thomas Dietrich is not capable at all of winning a major championship.
There's a line. I mean, the guys we get are international, and the guys we lose are US guys. And that's going to continue to be a battle that we can dig a lot deeper into another time. But the whole thing about playing from home, it's real. The US guys, there's something there that traveling outside of the US for US golfers seems to still be an issue. And the Golf Channel, those guys talk it up like it's the only thing. Like, oh my goodness, you got to travel from Riyadh to Adelaide like it's 1975, and they're all flying, economy in a full smoking business class aircraft. Like a lot of these guys are flying not necessarily private, but a chartered flight or semi-private where their kids can run around and like. I did see the point, like the whole thing about Brooks and his family and Jenna can be there and crew can be there. Like they were at most of the LIV tournaments. Like
they were there.
It wasn't that they weren't there. For Patrick Reed, his kids were at some of the tournaments. Like,
yeah.
So the whole family thing, like it's their decision. And if that's what they say, then I trust them. But there's just some evidence there and some things that don't add up. And
it's a lot.
There's more to it. There's more going on behind the scenes than what we know, because something flipped from Patrick Reed in Teams Week and even at Dubai to when he said, I'm going to leave and do this. Like an offer was made to him. Somebody stepped in and said, hey, you do realize if you finish top 10, there is this exemption. Maybe he wasn't aware of it. Maybe an agent or somebody made him aware of how easy that pathway back could have been.
But I do think, because I don't want to harp on this too much because I know you want to move on, but losing the American stars, like I think that's a real thing. The lack of Americans added throughout, like I know LIV is this the world's global golf league, whatever redundant that is, but the market that they do care about the most, I don't think we can stress this enough, is clearly the United States. They care so much about the TV deal. They have the most amount of events here. If they didn't care about the US, or the US wasn't at the high priority, then there would only be 2, maybe 3 events here. And then they would be able to play more of a global schedule within that. Most of the players are from here. Like we can't discredit how important the US is to the LIV Golf. And like, I'm not a guy that's like, oh yeah, rah patriotism, US, like, but I think it's quite obvious that LIV cares about that market so much so that if we keep losing guys from this market, it's never going to be an attainable market for LIV to capitalize on the way that they probably envisioned they would have when this whole thing started. So I think that's an important thing to watch going forward, because the PGA Tour has obviously had a stranglehold forever, but it's only that grip after being weakened a little bit is starting to strengthen again. I think that's a real problem.
As you're talking there, I just thought of something. How LIV's focus from the top is geographic centric identities. We no longer have a US team of all US players.
The High Flyers?
You're right. Okay, we have one. I was
Okay.
going through the teams and I did not get to high flyers. We have one. Okay. Good. But they're not forcing them to have this country identity. The American teams, the Four Aces, the Range Goats, Smash, like there isn't that focus for them like there is the other franchises. And I think I'm
Yeah,
just
but I
thinking
mean,
putting this on the spot, like it's kind of weird.
when there's 15 of them, it's kind of hard to say like this is the US team. I mean, like Smash has 3 US guys, the Range Goats have 3 US guys, the Crushers have 2, the Four Aces will have 1 currently, but maybe 2. But I think going forward, um, if Liv wants to be successful, I think they view themselves, they got to have at least some sort of market share here. And if you lose Bryson, which as more of these dumb things come up with Patrick Reed leaving, I think more and more that there's no chance Bryson's staying. I used to think there was no chance Bryson's leaving, and I think that number is swaying in the side of he's gone. But once you lose Bryson, then the US firepower is Dustin Johnson, and that's really it. So I don't think that really sells here, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I mean if we're playing the hypothetical game, that puts a lot on Caleb Surratt and Lasasso to have great seasons and for us to be able to identify them as like, okay, these are legitimate American stars going forward. And that has to happen right now. But again, another conversation for another day. Technically, it's February 2nd where Bryson is right now, which is the deadline. He's in Riyadh, so we feel good about February 2nd coming and going. He says he's staying. Flushing had the report on that. So it appears as if the bleeding has been clamped off for now, and we'll get to
For now,
the first tee time in Riyadh with everybody we currently expect, and one additional that we don't know yet. So, I mean, we could quick chat about that too because that's Patrick Reed story as far as replacing that. I mean, rumor mill is pretty quiet. We've heard probably a reserve situation, just legality wise, signing somebody to a contract like LIV is a big process. Lawyers, agents, players, caddies, team, whatever, to do that in a couple of days. But you have to have a guy figured out and found first before you begin that process. So it's appearing like we're going to go to Riyadh with the Four Aces grabbing a reserve of some sort. So if that happens, does that reserve probably play the first 2 weeks and then they try and get somebody signed? I don't know. Maybe it's a reserve situation all year and it's rotating. I don't know what
yeah,
that's going to look like.
that would
Could
be
they
challenging.
could they sign one of the wild cards? I would think the league would somewhat allow that and then move a reserve like Taboina into a wild card spot. If I'm Taboina, that's probably what I'm rooting for, because if I got moved into a wild card spot, the odds are that I'm getting 14 events versus if you're Taboina or, one of those other reserves, Rotluff or somebody that's going to be in that position, and they say, hey, we're going to take you for the first 2 and try and figure things out. Those might be the only 2 you play all year.
Maybe.
Honestly, I think I'd rather a wild card get moved onto that team. And if I'm not in the league, get signed as a wild card because I'm more likely to get 14 starts, 13
Well,
starts.
from the current wild cards there, it doesn't from all the stories that I've seen, doesn't look like anyone's, donning 4 aces. And I don't want to see any YouTube comments saying that's going to be AK, because I see AK just Melbon from head to toe.
Hey,
This
but
guy,
AK is the one tweeting at the 3 aces saying, you need a 4th. Hey, I'm here. And he
no,
didn't do
no,
that for like 4 days. So I don't know what he was waiting for. But
no. He's
the
going to be a
Malbon
wild
thing
card.
hasn't been officially like there's a deal in place yet. When we noticed that he was wearing Malbon, we had heard that he was just wearing it, that a deal potentially was coming. We still haven't heard the official announcement on that. So
Yeah, but him and Steven Malbon were hanging out in Orlando or something.
yeah,
It'll be a thing.
it appears to be a done deal. So,
But yeah, I think it's going to be a wild or a reserve. I don't see too much excitement from at least these first 2 weeks of like, oh, we got a new player. Who knows if it's going to be DP World Tour, Asian Tour, PGA Tour. I don't know where they're going to get this guy from. We haven't heard anything like real formidable of like
collegiate
names other than people that have maybe been called.
Yeah. No, that'll be interesting. I don't know what it does to the four aces. Obviously, we don't know that player. So where that puts them in Riyadh, where that puts them in the season standings, total toss-up right now. There was so much optimism for the aces. You had them picked second.
I know.
I mean, if they're running a reserve out, I don't know how far you want to drop them because
I'm
you
keeping
had them
them
picked second, and
I'm
they
keeping
literally
them
lost their
second.
strongest player. So
I am keeping them second until we know who their player is. And I'm probably still going to keep them second. You know, this is like this. What's the difference between Patrick Reed leaving and Patrick Reed like tearing his ACL at the first tee off? You know, it's like the same thing. You got to stick with your picks.
yeah, well, DJ thinks that he's got a few good years left in the tank, and if that happens, they could be good.
We'll see.
All right, let's move on. The other announcement of the week, which partly we knew, partly there was some question marks out there, was how the format was going to work. And we have most of our questions answered. We don't quite have all of them answered, even though they put out a big release. So we officially got the lock zone, open zone, drop zone numbers and what that's going to look like. Lock zone top 34, open zone 35 through 46, which is 12 players, and the drop zone is 47 through 57. There's two things that came to my mind right off the bat. One is the size of the drop zone. You're relegating 11 players and who that potentially affects. Two is that a 12-player open zone is almost useless. If what we saw with Max Lee, if a wild card finishes in the open zone, it's pretty much likely your season's over. If a team player finishes in the open zone, the odds are you're getting re-signed. So, I mean, at some point, the lock zone might as well just butt up to the drop zone. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think with this new format, I'm not really. I don't know. I don't have too many like profound takes with it
because we have to see it play out.
Yeah,
the whole points restructuring thing you're referring to, which they're placing a huge premium on winning, which is
great.
A direct answer to the call from last year with Neiman not winning the regular season. And if you follow me on X, you saw my post this week what the points would have been if we applied this year's point structure to last year's finishes. So last year, Rahm beat Neiman by 2.5 points on the season standings. If we apply this year's points to last year, Neiman beats Rahm by 470 points. Like Neiman could withdraw from the last 5 events of the year and still have won the season if we were using these points last year, which good or bad, like by that time, he should have had it locked up. If you win 5 times and the guy that you're closest to hasn't won yet, like that makes sense. Like there should not have been a way that Rahm could have caught Neiman.
No.
Now, point systems are goofy because you can manipulate point systems to do whatever you want. If you wanted to put a premium on finishing top 5, then you could put 2 through 5 with heavy points and then really drop starting at 6. Like it's not the same as just using a stroke-based system or whatever. So their premium is being put on the winner, and then things are dropping. As far as a percentage-wise, it's just the second place is not getting nearly the percentage of first place that it was before. And then everything down all the way through 57 will receive points. So even the guy that finishes dead last, as long as he doesn't withdraw or have injury or whatever, will receive something. So the drop zone this year won't be a bunch of guys with 0 points. I think the nuances of that are a little different because the cutoff before was 24. You had to finish in the top 24 to get any points. So in the dreaded relegation stages of late last season, all those guys in the drop zone, they had one goal in mind, and that was to finish in the top 24. Your MO totally changes this year. If you're in the drop zone at the halfway point, you don't need a couple of top 24 finishes. You need a couple of times finishing in the 30s. So I think it'll look different as the season goes. There won't be this like desperation of like I'm in the drop zone and I need one really good finish. If you're in the drop zone, you just have to consistently finish 10 spots higher than the guys around you and work your way out.
Yeah.
But like you said, not a lot of strong opinions. Can only talk about it so much because we need to see it play out to really understand, how it's going to look different. If, let's say, Neiman, just to throw a name in, wins the first two events, I mean, he's going to look uncatchable almost to start off the year because he's going to be so many points ahead of those next guys, which is how it should be. So
I think like players who win multiple times are going to be truly rewarded and are really going to be the only ones that can contend for this, which obviously we know last year was such a joke with the point system, and LIV did everything they could within this one to make it more catered to those guys that can win. And like you mentioned, with the minimum, everyone gets a point. If you're dead last 57 events, you get 13 points, one for each event. I'm trying to think of a number that's like the open zone barrier. Is that number? I thought of 35. I think that might be too low.
I don't know how you predict that because
just within my head. That's all.
Yeah,
Like it's not like I'm thinking like 35 points is 38th. If you finish 38th in 5 events, that's 35 points.
Okay.
So what is that number? Like, is that number in the 60s? Is it maybe lower than 35? I'm trying to think of that number that's like, once I know that X player has hit this barrier of points, they're probably going to be safe. I'm trying to think of what that number is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll start to form that a little bit through 3 or 4 events when we just see like our guys that are finishing in the 40s just finishing in the 40s, or is it 3 in the 40s and 1 at 12th?
Yeah.
It's just going to have to play out. I mean, there's 1,000 points per event divvied out from 1 through 57. There's 1,000 points. Last year there was 234. So this is going to look totally different too, like just standings. And
it's going to be, I think what a good thing was that LIV Golf did previously, like obviously the point allocation previously was kind of whack, but it made it a lot more like digestible to follow.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the end of the year and Neiman, let's say Rahm has 686 points, and then second place is Bryson, who's got 617 points. Like, what does Bryson need to do? What does Rahm need to do? Like what's
it's a little easier when you're talking 7 points and 12 points than 55, 75, 113 for a second place.
Because like in that scenario, like Bryson just needs to finish in the top 3, and then Rahm needs to finish like 41st. But if Rahm finishes like T39, then that 6.8 divvies up a little different. Like that's gonna be something a little weird to watch as the season goes on. I know with how, since this is brand new, they're gonna shove it down our throats, like new point system. This is how it works. So I'm going to be curious to see how they articulate it, because I'm sure they're going to have a lot more nuggets to add on than we will, that are just given from the stats team or whoever works those. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I think looking at the points breakdown, and I have it in front of me, so if you're just listening and you can't look at this, it might be harder to envision. But once you get from 16th place to 17th place, there's only a half-point difference. However, finishing 46th and 47th is a full point difference. So there was some little like dividing lines built into how the points are structured, which,
well, now it's,
I don't know if that'll play into anything or not. Like finishing 28th or 29th is a difference of 0.2 points.
Yeah.
But finishing 48th or 49th is a difference of 0.3. So it's goofy stuff. We're going to have to, well, whether you want to or not, you're going to have to watch the math.
Like you mentioned, like once it gets down to 16th, 17th, it's 0.5. And then from 25th through 44th, excuse me, then it's 0.2 or 200ths of a point. And then it's hundredths, right? Or those tenths? Those are tenths.
Tenths. But then it goes up again. which is the weird part.
Well, then it's 0.3 of a point.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So, God, I really said hundredths. What an idiot. Isn't that how ties are going to be divvied up then with hundredths then? It's got to be, right?
It will, yes.
Yeah.
Depending on how many people tie at a space, yeah. It'll
Yeah.
get
God,
weird. So
I am so stupid.
the team part is also doing the same thing. So last year, if you finished in 8th place as a team, you got 1 point. This year, there's points all the way through 13th. So the same thing, like you're going to accrue points for finishing 10th over and over and over. Does that matter? Yeah, it does. Because if the team ahead of you has a 13th place finish and you continue to finish 10th, you're actually, those bottom teams are moving rather than just sitting still.
Yeah.
Which I like. Then on the team side, second place was like 75% of first place, and this year it's only 50%.
Yeah.
So again,
winning
they're
as a
placing
team
the
is
premium on
huge.
winning. Yep.
Yeah.
From an individual standpoint, I just don't see another Neiman year happening. I think if an individual wins 3 times this year, they're the champion. I did apply the points all the way through first, second, and third in my test. Bryson had a win and finished third. And with Rahm having no wins, Bryson still did not finish ahead of him using this year's points. So it's not a given that if you win, you're ahead of somebody without a win, but it's pretty rare that that's going to happen because Rahm also never really finished below Bryson a whole lot. So
yeah.
Anything else on the points? The other thing is the money. Obviously, the money, every player gets paid, but now every team gets paid too. And we don't know that amount. They didn't put out the amounts for individual or team. And then the last thing, which nobody seems to notice but me, there was one sentence in the release that there is a $2.3 million fund per event that will be divvied out to the players of teams finishing on the podium. So this to me tells me that you will get a kicker added to your individual payment, your individual purse, if your team finishes on the podium, which is something new. And I really like. I'm excited to see how that plays out because there was always the early in LIV, it was understood that the team amounts were kind of divvied out to the players. Then Bryson had a interview where he talked about like, no, that goes into our team coffer. And at the end of the year, if we're basically net positive, then we can divvy out the remainders to the players as we see fit. And now it looks like if your team finishes on the podium, you will be rewarded individually on top of what the team money purse is given to your team. So I think that's pretty cool. It's one more bargaining chip when you look at other tours and how they're paying players and the purse sizes. This adds a little bit to the players that are on good teams, which is also an incentive to keep your team good, as well as if you're considering joining LIV, you want to join a good team versus a bad one. So,
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we've heard that like previously that it hasn't really mattered, but now it does a little bit more. So I think it's just more of an added incentive than anything. So that's a positive change.
Yep. Okay, I think that's all on the format stuff, correct?
Sounds like it, yeah.
All right, then what everyone's here waiting for, and we're 35 minutes in almost. Let's talk Riyadh. It's time. It's time to talk about the first tournament of the year. So,
literally the only reason why people are listening, maybe for our Patrick Reed takes, but for LIV Golf Riyadh, returning to Riyadh Golf Club for the second year in a row under the lights. It'll be interesting to see. We heard on a podcast from X amount of LIV employees saying that it wasn't the most friendly setup last year to the guys, the guys don't really love it.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how that changes this year. Last year, Adrian Moronk won at 17 under with 17 guys finishing 10 under or better. This is 7,400 yards, par 72. We mentioned Patrick Reed earlier. Phil Mickelson's not playing in this event due to family health issues, whatever that means. So we wish him well. He won't be in Adelaide either. Ali Schneider-Jans is replacing him for both events. And this is the first ever 72-hole LIV Golf event ever. So it'll be this event will show the flow of what these events look like. in a more traditional golf format. From what stands out to you heading into Riyadh?
Well, I went back and I watched a little bit of last year, fast forwarded through a couple parts. Obviously, the Adrian Meronk roller coaster, that was, I mean, I remember watching it live and it was like, it was the emotion of like missed putts and he's basically given up the lead and now he has the lead back and now he misses another putt. And that part was crazy. I look at Legion, how dominating their win was, and now you throw another 18 holes on top of that. I'm a little nervous for how team competitions are going to go this year, that we're going to have some round fours where it's such a big gap that like the team in the lead just coasts to a win.
Yeah.
I hope
And it
that's
could
not
be
the
like that
case.
individually too.
Oh, it sure could. Could be a Justin Rose situation, right? So, no, I think the course, I expect the lighting to be a little bit better. I know Rom talked about some shadow issues. I know I heard the same thing, that guys just didn't love the night golf. But AK is posting on Twitter today, night golf is dope. Rom in his thing said he had a really good time. He was looking forward to it again. So maybe what they're saying publicly isn't how they feel privately. I don't know. It's different. It's cool. Neiman's talking it up on social media, saying only pro golf tournament under the lights. So I'm sure the grass league will respond to that and be offended, but whatever.
Like they always are.
Yeah. As far as a winner, I mean, Meronk at 17 under, the greens are going to be better, right? They were bad last year. The Meronk would putt and the ball would just bounce across the green. But, you know, the Saudi International that Ballester won, the greens were in good shape. Everything I've seen on social media so far, the greens look phenomenal. So I think the course is going to be better, similar to what we saw at the Saudi International. Winner was 17 under. Ballester won 72 holes at 22 under. My guess is that's probably about where the winner is. Just, I think night golf, maybe the ball doesn't fly quite as good when it's a little cooler. It's a better quality tournament than the one Ballester won, even though there was a ton of live guys in that. So, I mean, I think 22 under, if you can be the first guy to 22 under, you feel like you probably win.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a putting contest, an all-out putting contest. This is a course that we've seen a lot. If you watch LIV Golf and you watch the Asian Tour, this is the fourth time that we've seen it in 14 months.
Yeah.
Right? Since December of 2024. So we've seen it a ton. So we have plenty of experience, kind of how the course fits work, who plays good here, who doesn't. We'll talk more about that during the individual contenders, but we've seen this course enough. During the Saudi International, like LIV guys own the field. I think there was 11 in the top 15. Night golf, how does that play? We've seen it once already. How is it presented this time? Do these guys approach it a little differently? Are the greens any better? There's a lot to look forward to. For me, with this course, I think the most intriguing part of it are the par threes. There's a lot of difficult par threes that they can put out on this course. I think a 17, that's a really hard one. Sevens, an island green, that's a little challenging to get to, depending on where you leave it. I think the par three,
fifth hole was actually the toughest. That's a par three, played as the toughest hole at last year's event.
Yeah.
So you had 54 players playing 3 rounds, 162 times that hole was played, and there was only 12 birdies on a par three. So
yeah, so it's hard, right? Like the par three scoring, I think, is going to be really important this week. But like I said, I think it's just an all-out putting contest. We had Ballester winning here before. We had Adrian Meronk here last year, both two solid putters, but it's also a bomber's course as well. There's not a whole lot of penalty off the tee unless you drive it so far into the wilderness that there's just no lights on it, like what happened with Lucas Herbert last year. So there's different ways to win it, but if the putter's not hot, then you can kiss your chances goodbye.
Yeah, a couple of things, intriguing to me. I love the 18th hole, the risk or reward of the 18th. I think it's a really good finishing hole. because you
I
can
agree.
play that ball up the fairway, or you can take it over the top and try and go for the green, and there's a little bit of space to land short, but if you're too short, you're in trouble. I love that finishing hole here. We've got a lot of guys who maybe haven't played this course a lot or haven't played it at night. So Biastair's won here, but he's never played it at night. You mentioned Phil out, Ollie's in. Ollie's played at night here. So maybe a little advantage, but Victor Perez, Thomas Dietrich, Laurie Cantor. Laurie might have played this course actually. I would have to look at that,
I have no idea.
but not at night. So there's going to be a lot of guys doing this for the first time over again. And I got to think that a ton of course experience here and having played it at night benefits those guys.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm looking for, and it was evident and nobody tried to hide it, there was nobody on the course last year. They reported 15,000 fans. They basically stayed in the hospitality areas and showed up for the concerts. I'm hoping year 2, let's get some people on the course. I'm hoping it's a little more marketing. Golf is a little more interesting in Saudi Arabia to those people. Come on out of the hospitality tent for a little while. Go out and see the golf at night. I'm hoping it looks a little better from that on TV. Not that it matters. It is what it is. We're always going to have probably an event in Saudi Arabia, just given PIF's involvement here. So whether golf grows and the galleries grow here or not really doesn't matter to them. But I would just like to see the momentum of this event and the uniqueness of it maybe catch on there a little bit. But really doesn't matter.
For the lack of people we have in Riyadh, it's just going to be outnumbered by the amount of people we have in Adelaide. So if you don't like crowds, this week is for you. If you do like crowds, maybe next week is for you. But let's talk about the individual contenders who we think will do well. From the top, I already mentioned Adrian Meronk, Jose Ballester, the last 2 winners on this golf course. Ballester won the Saudi International in his first try. This will be his first experience in night golf. Adrian Meronk won last year, kind of running away until he almost choked it and then ran away with it. And then during the Saudi International, he hit a course record in the first round, whatever number that was. I don't have that on the top of my head. But someone who loves this course. Dean Burmester, Caleb Surratt, Tyrrell Hatton, Lucas Herbert, and Mark Leishman all finished in the top 11 in both events in Riyadh in 2025. So if we're going off of course history, those guys like this place. They like it a lot. Dean Burmester's finished, has had good finishes every time he's been here. Tyrrell Hatton's in the 3 times he's been here has been 4th, T6, T5. So pretty strong background within this. We haven't seen Rahm or Bryson compete at all really since October, since the Ryder Cup. How will they have any rust heading into this season? How will they start their year? Do you have any thoughts regarding any of these guys?
Are you sure you're on the right page? Because it's like you just read all my notes. So
no, we just have good notes.
That's the biggest question for me. And we played this game. It's not a game. We talked about this last off season is how much does it matter playing versus not? To most of these guys, it doesn't matter. I think there's a few guys that need to play. They need to knock rust off. I don't have questions that Rahm and Bryson are doing the right things to be ready to go. I think they're both top 10 finishes this week. I think Meronk plays well here because the guys in Dubai play golf under the lights. There's courses in Dubai that have the option to play night golf. And if you're a golf sicko and you want to play a lot, then you can go play at night. And some of the players this week have been in Dubai playing under the lights, trying to simulate what this is going to be like and get ready for it. So it makes sense to me that Meronk plays well here. I also think Meronk started to find some better form ending last year. And then that kind of came to a screeching halt in the DP events that he played between Michigan and now. So I don't know what that looks like for Meronk. I think just his course familiarity here, playing under the lights, I think he'll be okay. You mentioned the other guys that finish high. Every time they play here, Hatton Hatton's, we talked about last week in our full preview, like it's a bounce back year for Hatton. He had a very underwhelming LIV season last year, and he could erase a lot of that with a win here, which he's certainly capable of. So David Puig coming in basically as hot as anybody with his, his DP World Tour play. I mean, you look at the finishes he's had here and the finishes he's had playing golf in the last month, and you think, why can't David Puig win here? I think he certainly could. It would be a great time to get that first win, which Moronk did here. Is this just a first-time winner's course? Maybe it is. Wouldn't mind seeing David Puig win. You mentioned Herbert. You also mentioned putting contest here. Lucas Herbert took the fewest putts of anybody last year in the field, so that bodes well for him. Yep, he was number one in putting, so I think that goes in his favor. Are there other guys that?
Well, Lucas Herbert. I mean, Lucas Herbert was, and I'm going to mention this in the team preview. But like Cam Smith and Lucas Herbert in 2024 were number 1 and 2 in strokes gained putting, and Lucas Herbert was abysmal last year. Lucas Herbert, if he, playing at a course that he's familiar with and has putted well at before, it's going to be Ripper's going to contend this week if that's the case, and we'll talk about that more. But Lucas Herbert's putting, I think, is going to be massive. Another great putter, Caleb Surratt, T2 or second, in both events. Both 72-hole events he's played at Riyadh Golf Club. So an extra round for him, I think, will bode really well for him.
Yep.
This could be the Caleb Surratt coming out party that you've been dying to have.
Well, it could be just Riyadh's the place where first-time winners get it done. I could see it happening. You mentioned Dean Burmester, how well he plays here. We talked in our season preview about course fit for Dean Burmester.
This is it.
I mean, he can overpower this course, and then if his putting is on, Dean Burmester could start the year with a win. But you don't necessarily have to be a bomber to win here.
No,
that's the other part of it. So I got my eye on a guy like Tom McKibben potentially winning. Carlos Ortiz is another one. I think this course might set up well for him if the putter's on. Maybe a dark horse Louis Oosthuizen. Still looking for his first win. I'm a little higher on Louis this year than you, as evidence of our last show. But
I don't think Carlos Ortiz has the putter capable of winning an event like this. Personally.
No, I think the rest of his game can get him there. But if he can't make all the putts, then nobody's winning here if they can't make all the putts. So.
Who's a dark horse guy that you have? I got a couple, but who's a dark horse, open zone or worse from last year that you're interested in?
Well, I said Louis Oosthuizen. I think he would be my dark horse.
He's your dark horse.
Yeah. One other guy I think could be a first-time winner here is Paul Casey.
Ooh,
if he was ever going to win a tournament, why not now?
Interesting. Well, I mean, wasn't Paul Casey Lockstone last year? No. Yes.
Yeah,
don't remember. I have Brandon Grace as a dark horse. T6 and T5 in his 72-hole events here. So he's obviously familiar with the play. So it all depends on the putter, obviously. But that was something that got turned around. And then I'm going to do something. We're not a gambling podcast, but I'm going to go on the odds checker website every year, and I'm going to give a long shot that I like. And you're not going to like this, but at 200 to 1, give me all of Ben Campbell. Number 1 in putting last year. I mean, Ben Campbell, like you said, you don't have to overpower this place. He's not gonna. And this is a long shot, right? We're here to have fun. Ben Campbell can putt with the best of them. So if I'm getting those kind of odds, that's crazy. Odds checker also has Adrian Moronk at 90 to 1, which I think is crazy. They have Caleb Surratt at 50 to 1, Tom McKibben at 25 to 1. The normal Rahm, Bryson, Hatton, Neiman, all 12 to 1 or better. But yeah, my long shot, I'm throwing some cheddar on Ben Campbell. What do you think?
Yeah, I was just pulling up odds checker because I'm curious here.
We're not a gambling podcast. And Matt Miller no longer is writing for Rotoballer, so we ended Matt Miller, unfortunately. But we're gonna still
we
talk in
covered
his
this
honor.
guy, and his putting was much improved last year. How about a Bubba Watson win?
Ooh, okay, fun. Yeah, I can get behind that. I mean, it's all about the putter, right? Damn,
Yeah.
60-1. Do I like that price? Not really, but 61, count me in.
Yeah.
For Bubba
I mean,
Watson, yeah, fuck it, sure.
DJ?
No,
DJ's not quite, he's got to get in a little better form.
I don't care about form. 3 times here he's been MC T44 MC.
Wow.
He hates this place. He talked about how much he hated this place.
Guys of a certain age, this playing at night and the vision doesn't work out for you.
This DJ isn't the spot for him.
Abe Answer at 45.
Abe Answer is finished T22, T42, T33 here.
All right, give me this totally off my notes, and it doesn't matter the odds. Who's the highest finishing new player to the league? You got Ben On, you got Victor Perez, Thomas Dietrich, any of the other Korean Golf Club guys, any of the wild cards.
Damn, this is good.
Lasasso.
Yeah, give me. I'll take Dietrich. I'll pencil in Dietrich at like top 15.
I guess Cantor's in there too.
Yeah, Cantor's in there too. I was almost gonna go Scott Vincent, but I decided not to. But yeah, give me Thomas Dietrich top 15.
Scott Vincent, sneaky pick. Where's he in the odds?
Fucking a million to 1.
150.
You're telling me I can get better odds with Ben Campbell than I can with Scott Vincent? They have Danny Lee at 1,000 to 1, which
you can get better odds on Yosuke Asagi than you can Scott Vincent.
You know, how far has Matthew Wolff fallen to where he has worse odds than Anthony Kim? That's tough. That's really tough. Where's Lee Westwood? I don't even know if he's listed on here.
Yeah, he is. 6th to last. Behind Graham McDowell, Brennan Steele, and Sam Horsfield. So.
Yikes. God, that's tough, Sam Horsfield. All right. Well, you want to talk about teams?
All right. Let's chat about the teams. Last year, Legion won this with no contest, basically. I mean, I'm looking at them again, right? You look at Rahm and McKibben and Hatton's success here, and then their youngest, most unaccomplished guy right now is Caleb Surratt. In their last 72-hole tournaments, 270-hole tournaments here, he finished second in T2. Like, all of the chips have to be on them. And does anywhere put out betting odds for teams?
Not that I could find, but it's obvious that it's like,
I mean, it would be just astronomical odds on them right now, right?
They would probably be like, they would be minus money, right? I think they would be minus like 150, 175, dude. Yeah. I like you said, I mean, the way this course, the track record they have here, second to none. I know already talked about Ripper a little bit. I think like they have the build to contend with this. But yeah, you look at Legion and then you stop and then it's like, okay, there's no point even talking about the rest. We're still going to talk about the rest, but like,
just take last year's Riyadh event. Legion individuals finished 2nd, 6th, 11th, and 15th. Can any team have all 4 guys better than 15th this year other than them?
No, I don't think so. You could you could make a case for 20th.
Torquay, maybe. So
maybe, but I already mentioned Answer doesn't have the greatest course history here. Ortiz doesn't have the best putter here. Neiman won here in the 2024 Saudi International, but then he was T33 at LIV Riyadh, miscut at the 2025 Saudi International. So we don't have any idea where his form is. So no, I don't think this is a match for Torquay at all.
I'd agree. The one other team that really has one guy that it hinges on, I feel like, is the Fireballs with Massaveo.
Yeah.
Sergio had a great weekend this weekend. Finished T4. Puig is coming in hot. Bias there just won here. What did Massaveo do here last year?
He was last year. Massaveo was T33 in the LIV event and T20 in the Saudi International.
Okay, not bad. I mean,
serviceable.
Yeah.
You need a T20 at worst from him if you expect to contend. I don't think Sergio likes this place that much. Well, MC T6 and LIV event MC. So
72 hole tournaments here for Sergio have not been good.
They have not been kind to him. So, who knows? I think the Fireballs, that's a good shout. I think they're a team that has a chance. You think about the Crushers. Last year they were in contention. They finished third or T4, or fourth place, whatever. But they had a slow final round, but they could have easily pushed Legion a little bit more. I think this is the start of the season to where we don't know what to expect. I can't just slate them they're going to be solid. We talked about this already at length, but if you have a bad finish from Bryson this week, let's say he throws out like a T30 and then he goes to Adelaide, a course that he hasn't been the best on, then if he has two mediocre finishes, that's going to start a conversation of okay, is Bryson really in on this? The distractions could mount if Bryson doesn't play the best. So I'm kind of scared for the amount of pressure that they might have. You probably don't agree with me, but I don't know. It's something to think about, something to watch if it does start out poorly.
Yeah. Since I think you're going to ask, my dark horse on the team side is the Cleeks.
Wow.
Richard
I wasn't even going to ask.
Richard Bland took fourth here at the Saudi. Adrian Moronk has won here. Martin Keimer has not done well here.
But that's everywhere since he's been on LIV Golf.
And then Victor Perez is the unknown. So that's a team that I could see if they're going to podium the first half of the season, it might be here.
Yeah. Possible. If we're looking at dark horses for me, I've been beating this drum for as long as I could, but it's the Range Goats. Best finish here last year. Long and not penal is their formula. And Bubba Watson can putt. Ben Campbell can putt. It's a matter of if Uline keeps it on the planet and if Wolf really cares. And this is where Wolf had his first or second best finish at last year. So I'm not saying they can win, but it's not a bad sprinkle if you have them podiuming. I think that's very possible. So I like them as a dark horse type.
Otherwise, teams, high flyers, I don't know what's going to happen there. Lasasso just had the video hey, what made you want to join LIV? And then it pans over to Phil and he's like, that guy, Cap over there. Now you're playing your first two LIV events under the lights in Adelaide, and the reason you came to LIV isn't there. We'll find out how mature he really is, and Ollie's fine. We'll see. Ollie didn't have the best. Ollie tried through the international series and the promotions event to get on LIV and didn't. So that kind of tells you a little bit about where he's at with his game.
The fifth person to be in the drop zone that's able to compete on LIV Golf in 2026. So that's good.
Yeah.
But no, the high flyers, it's going to be tough, right? We don't normally talk about the high flyers and team contenders, but like I said last week, there's buzz around them now. But it's that buzz kind of gets sawed if
when Phil's not there.
When you don't have Phil there.
Korean Golf Club. Ultimately, I think my number one thing in the first tournament of the year is I just want to see the new guys. Okay, how are they gonna I've never watched Lasasso hit a shot in competition. So I'm interested to see that. I'm interested to see the Korean Golf Club guys and how that team performs. Could they finish fifth this week? Maybe. We have no idea. Then there's all the wild card guys. Is AK gonna, finish 25th and start his year off as good as where he left off last year? I hope so. We'll see. Bjorn Helgren's played this course. He played the Saudi International. Some guys like that I'm just curious to see how they do. And that's outside of the team thing, obviously. But any other teams that we should be talking about that we aren't? I mean, Torquay is one that we don't spend much time on Torquay, and yet we're going to mention them every single week.
Yeah, I mean,
because your favorite player has not even been mentioned on this episode yet.
No, I love, well, Bryson's been mentioned many times, but I love Sebastian Munoz too, obviously. But like I said, I don't love the fits on this course for Torquay, so that's why I haven't been over the moon to talk about them. In the 72 hole events that Sebastian Munoz has played, he's finished T42, T50 after finishing third last year. So like not like the most glowing track record, even though he had a fantastic week. Maybe it is the format, but yeah, I don't know. I don't look. I already talked about Ripper. I think Ripper is probably going to. Ripper's my favorite to be second. I think if Cam Smith has the driver intact, he's going to putt the lights out. Lucas Herbert hopefully can putt the lights out. And Mark Leishman's a decent enough putter.
Putt of the year. Leishman had putt of the year at the LIV Showcase.
He had the putt of the year, so that's clearly makes him a top putter in the league. But Elvis Smiley, like, I'm not super familiar with like his game. Like, is he a dynamite putter? Does he hit it far? I've only watched him in spurts when when the Australian events are on. Like, I haven't seen much Elvis Smiley, so I'm excited to see what he brings, because you and I both aren't the highest on him. So I want to see if he can prove me wrong, or at least prove that like, he's like, okay, this is dynamite golf. So Ripper's gonna be a fun team to watch within that. But other teams
on the bottom end, I'm kind of interested to see how the Majestics do, because Cantor makes them.
You're interested in that?
I was going to say significantly, and I meant to say slightly, and I started saying significantly. Cantor makes them slightly better. I'm interested to see if they're not the worst team.
No, well, yeah, we'll see.
Poulter's had such a weird offseason, like hinting on his Instagram that he's going to get a win this year, but then when he's asked about his goals for this year, they have nothing to do with golf. Like, I don't know what's going on with that team. Like, they're just happy they have this new look and can wear the British flag everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think because we've touched on most teams, I think we got to say, like, Southern Guards, we already talked about Dean Burmester at length. We think both our dark horses are Southern Guards, and Charles Schwartzel was a hell of a putter last year. Yeah. They could make noise. And then Smash, I don't have a ton to say about Smash. It's not like I'm super. I don't think this week's like their week. And I can.
What's Gooch's history at this course? I didn't.
Gooch's history,
not great. A T62 and T44 last year at Riyadh at this event.
Yeah. So yeah, not the greatest history. And then the 4 Aces, like, yeah, we don't know what we're getting yet. So why would we think that they can contend this week? And DJ hates this place. So yeah, they're not. This week isn't their week.
No. All right. So with all of that said, give me your team winner, Legion. I think you already said, right? And I went Legion.
So yeah, it's Legion. We both have Legion winning.
That's the easy one. And since it's so easy, it'll be wrong. That's just how that stuff works. Your individual winner for this week.
I am going with Jose Le Ballester this week.
Wow. I mean, I wonder what's the percentages say that a guy can win back-to-back events held at a course? Not just them playing there, like since the last time they played there, but it's literally the next event held at that course. Can't be good.
Well, I mean, it's not a matter of can't be good, but like those situations don't happen where Ballester hasn't played since the last time he won. Obviously the odds are probably stacked against him. But the odds are stacked against him even if he didn't win before, right? Like, it's such a crapshoot. I can't even, like, the tour played back-to-back at Torrey Pines, and then I think, or like 2 weeks off, and then like during COVID, they played back-to-back at the Memorial. Like, these situations don't happen much where it's one course this week and then the same course a couple weeks later. That just doesn't happen. So, I don't know. I think this is the start of like a dynamic season from Ballester. If if Liv's going to get back on the right track, they need a guy like him to like show like, yeah, this guy's a real freaking superstar, and this is who's going to carry us in the future. So I'm picking Bias there because I think Bias there is most capable of doing that. I wouldn't be surprised if a Hatton or a Surratt or anyone else who has real good history here wins. But in the handicapping of it, I'm picking course history and being able to putt. And I think the best guy for that this week is Bias there.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Bryson DeChambeau is going to win this week.
Wow. Interesting.
So he doesn't have much course history here. He didn't play either of the Saudi events. He's never played a 72-hole event here. Last year he finished T6, which if some other guys finish T6, we say, oh, that's pretty good evidence that he's going to do all right here. We haven't seen him play since the Ryder Cup. So the big rust question is there, but I think that's who I'm going to take. We talk about guys, Dean Burmester can overpower this course. So can Bryson. So it's not, I don't know that Bryson has to have his brand new 3D printed wedges totally figured out to win here, like he may have to some other places. If he can be accurate off the tee, and if Bryson can putt like he did in Korea, then why can't he win here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bryson was 9 under last year heading into the final round, and he shot 4 under, which wasn't one of his, like last year, Bryson couldn't finish, but this tournament wasn't a matter of him not finishing. He just didn't get off to the start necessary. I think he has a chance to do it. I wouldn't pick him just based off of like play style normally. Because I don't like Bryson's a good putter, but I don't know if he's like putting contest good putter. But no, I'm excited. If Bryson wins, that would be epic. That's obviously who I want. And I picked we picked my 2 favorite players in the league to win this week. So good job, us.
Congrats. And my favorite team. So
yeah, great. It works out for everybody.
Bryson is second in the odds to win. He's 7-1. So
per usual.
Yeah. Okay, we are going to debut a new contest, and you're going to take us through those rules to remind everybody who followed along last year. We did the pick a player, pick his score. So we don't need to recap how that totally went, but we did a season-long contest that had a running score total. And at LIV Michigan, Buff ended up buying me an article of clothing.
A nice t-shirt or nice polo shirt.
Yep, a Torquay polo, because he was the well-mannered loser of our year-long tournament last year. So we are doing something a little different, kind of in the same vein. So why don't you explain that?
Yeah, so last year it was a planned out game of who's going to shoot what score at an event. And I made it interactive too last year. I'm not doing a contest this year for this particular game. I'm not doing a contest at all because why should I? But it's going to be hit or miss. This is what the game's called. It's called hit or miss. And what this game is, we are going to ask, either it's going to be a wheel spin or from Grok. I'm going to do it from Grok to pick a number from 1 through 57. And it's going to give us a number of between that. And we have to guess who is going to fit in that number. So it's not going to be, it's going to be 2 through 57 because we already picked our winners. But it's going to be, we're going to pick a random player to finish in a random spot just based off of what the AI, the heart of the cards give us. So how it's going to be scored, it's going to be however many you're off in either direction, that's where you finish at. So the lowest number from that at LIV Michigan or wherever will have the same bet of an article of clothing that is well worth our while. So I am going to put the
AI. Just quickly, if AI says 37 and you pick Adrian Moronk 37, or you pick Adrian Moronk 32, you think he's
no, you pick Adrian Moronk to be 37,
right? And he finishes 32nd, you get 5 strokes. lowest amount of strokes at the end of the season is the winner.
Yes. Thank you
Yes.
for better
Okay.
articulating that. So
I don't
I
know if that
have
was
it in
better.
Grok right here. Pick a number. We should probably do this a little better next time. But the number that Grok gave me is 42. Is that backwards for you?
Nope, that's perfect.
All right. So
So
42
we
is
need
the
to
number.
predict who's going to finish 42nd, and we'll take a few seconds here, look over some.
Yeah, look over our
notes.
daunted notes. Where these guys are going to finish, kind of talk it through, and then give our answer. There's no rhyme or reason who goes first and who doesn't.
No, if you arrive on an answer and you got yours, feel free.
I got mine. You
You already got yours.
I mean, this is such a crapshoot, right?
Oh, it is for sure.
I'm gonna go with Graham McDowell finishing 42nd. Not the greatest history here. He'll be fine. I'm gonna go with him finishing 42nd. I don't think it's gonna have the greatest week. It'll just be okay.
Okay, you got Graham McDowell. I'm going to take, in the similar style of player, I'm going to take Martin Keimer, or
Ooh, hell
Martin
yeah.
Kreimer, as Fox Sports put on their graphic. So I'll take Martin Keimer finishing 42nd. So we have Graham McDowell, Martin Keimer. It'll be interesting, the dynamic of this game, right? Because if those two guys are, let's say through 3 rounds, are like in the 30s, we're cheering for them to play bad in the 4th round. And if they're way lower, we're hoping for a great 4th round. So it's a little different cheering style. And this will be fun because, like you said, 2 through 57, some week they might give us number 2 and we pick a winner, and then it's try and figure out who did second. So
yeah. Well, I do like that this game, like, it's kind of similar to last year because I think it's like the same style of pick. You don't want to be too risky, but you can kind of throw a shot at the wall. But if you really mess up, then it's going to set you back big time. But I think with this, it's a lot more like I can't get mad about it. Like I could get mad last year about Jason Kokrak making the final birdie putt in Indianapolis, so where I ended up losing because of it. But this, it's like if Graham McDowell finishes 10th, like, so I guess I was wrong in picking Graham McDowell getting a top 10. Sue me, I mean, like, this is a lot less thought out. This is more fun this way.
Yeah. If Graham McDowell wins this week,
that's 42 strokes.
42 strokes to start the year. Whew. Good thing with that's not happening.
Yikes.
All right. No, I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun. And we'll track that, keep an updated score every week, let you know where we're at.
And in the comments and the replies, let us know who you think is going to finish 42nd this week.
Yeah.
If you're listening this far.
No official contest being held by you or the podcast, but be interesting to see if somebody can hit it on the head. And we'll take a T42, but if he's T41, that's still a stroke off. So,
yep.
All right. I think that's all we got for this week. Let's go, Bryson.
Yeah, no, this is great. Next week, we'll have the Riyadh review and the Adelaide preview. Our schedules with the Super Bowl and our travel this weekend will be kind of tough, so we may not get it out on time, but we will have it at some point. So bear with us as we figure that out. But guys, we're finally here. We made it to golf. Let's enjoy this while we have it. Live like we're dying, and let's
February 2nd. We just got to make it through the next 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, more than that in the US, because I'm guessing the window is open through the end of February 2nd. No, I'm not worried about that. Just looking forward to seeing.
It goes like Hawaii time.
Alaska and Hawaii, whichever one is later. I'm guessing Hawaii. No, looking forward to see who the 4th ace is and get that first ball of the shotgun start. Thank goodness shotgun start is still around. We didn't sell shotgun start, so
not yet. All right. We'll see you guys
Have
next
fun.
week.